And it deeply, deeply saddens me when children have to go
Your salary
through
is 130,000, is that right, Ms Thacker?
With pension contributions, yes, I get 115,000 a year.
Thank you. Michael Ellis is the final question.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. Mr Kimber, is it a rotten borough council that you've been presiding over? That one, blames victims, two, blocks complaints of horrific child sexual abuse and exploitation over a prolonged period of time, and three, seeks an injunction against the Times newspaper, who, quite frankly, with Andrew Norfolk, have done more to expose this incident than are a lot of very highly paid public servants who are a disgrace to the public service. Now,
Order.
How much?
Have no noise from the gallery.
How much, Mr Kimber, did you waste of taxpayers' money on the legal action against the Times newspaper, seeking to block them from doing the public service that they did? How much? How much do those lawyers cost?
To try to deal with your questions, the latest one first, I don't know, sir, but I can let you have the answer in
Roughly.
writing.
Over 100,000? Over 200,000?
It would be nowhere near that.
Perhaps you'll let us have a note.
I will, sir. In the context of me working with a rotten borough, I do not recognise...
Rotten Borough Council.
Rotten Borough Council. I do not recognise what you say in the context that I personally would never allow a position where victims were blamed. It's absolutely not acceptable that infringement...
That's what Professor Jay's report says.
Professor Jay's report doesn't say it, sir, from 2010 onwards, and I've been the chief executive from the very end of 2009, and so I'm giving you my position of the council that I recognise. I absolutely would not allow that to happen.
Right. Well, let me ask you this then, because when the Times broke the story, your response as a local authority was to ask the police to investigate who leaked it to them. Isn't that right? Isn't that right, Mrs Thacker?
We've already covered that, sir, in previous questions.
Just answer the question. I don't care whether you've covered it or not. Was that your response to actually look for the leaker to the story rather than get to the bottom of the gravamen of the story itself?
It was important that we protected innocent people's data being released to goodness knows who.
The data was more important than the child abuse victims?
No, it was important that we protected innocent people.
It's committee that the evidence we received from Joyce Thacker today has been unimpressive, and we believe that she should be asked to step down to reflect on her position, and if she doesn't do so, she should resign. Of course, at the end of the day, Ms Thacker, it's a matter of you accept your evidence that you raised this and nobody was listening to you, though we will hear from Mr Wright shortly. We believe you, having received the evidence today from Risky Business, where they tell us that 100 names were in this file that was given to you in 2006, this went up to 600 names when you gave evidence to us, and it's now reached 1,400 names, that you should have been aware of this as you were intimately involved in these matters, and that you should resign as a matter of conscience and in order to try and cleanse the council of the leadership that it's had so far. That is the unanimous and collective view of this select committee.
And I've made my position quite clear, Chair.
Well, we know that. I'm just telling you, you made your position clear at the beginning, and I think that the attitude you've displayed today and in the unimpressive nature of your evidence only adds to that. You might like to bear that in mind, Mr Kimber, since you've still got 3 months before you go. I'm sure you wouldn't like your legacy to Rotherham to be, you have gone, and the rest of those responsible are still there. I'm sure since everyone has so much respect for you in the council, you will use your persuasive power to try and cleanse the council of the past, to give the people of Rotherham, and the young people of Rotherham in particular, a future. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you, Senator.